And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Drink with Rick on the Saturday Night Wine Stream. I'm Rick, and tonight we are going to try a new wine that I just discovered at one of my favorite places to go get wine, which is a wine store in Blakeney, North Carolina. This is a Domaine La Berthete. La Berthete. This is a French wine, so watch out. My French is terrible, and I'm going to fully demonstrate that tonight. This is a Domaine La Berthete. This is a Perigueux. This is a Cotes de Rhone wine from France, imported from France. We're going to try it out. I may not have the proper foods to pair this with tonight, and I'll explain that later, but at least I'm going to try it with a couple of things. We'll see what happens. But this should be interesting, to say the least, to try this out. I'm excited to try this, and I like the bottle. It's a nice little bottle. I mean, I really like the design on the front, and it's an attractive bottle. I like that. It's going to be when I'm done drinking it. If I like it, I'll put it up on the back there with my other the rest of my collection. And it will be proudly displayed. I think it would make a nice addition to the bottles in the back. Anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. Of course, you can watch us Facebook Live. We're on Facebook Live. We are on YouTube, and I'll be checking on the chats, Facebook and YouTube. Let's see. Charles is in the chat. Charles, it's great to see you. I'm glad you're here. I hope you can stick around. I know we're 11 o'clock is a bit late here on the East Coast. We're going to fix that, and I'm going to explain that a little bit later as well as we get down to the bottle. Let's see. We're on Facebook Live. We are on the Facebook page, Drink with Rick, the Facebook page there. We are on YouTube at Drink with Rick, and we are on Twitch. Twitch, you can find us Twitch Live. That's, I think, the Savoya Media stream there. And you can find us, of course, on, let's see, where else? Well, Twitter. I'm not up on Twitter right now because I didn't open the stream up on Twitter. But it's going through Periscope. If you happen to be picking it up through Periscope somewhere, I don't know where it's going, somewhere out in the internet, you can catch it there. But most of I will be checking the chats on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook tonight. So I'll keep an eye on that. And of course, you can watch us live at drinkwithrick.com. That is the website, drinkwithrick.com. Now the chat isn't there, of course, but you can still watch us, and you can comment. You can leave comments on that page as well, drinkwithrick.com. You can also contact me after the show at rick@savoyamedia.com. That's rick at SAVOIAMEDIA.com, as I have down in the lower third here. And there's a lot of different ways to contact me. So we're going to introduce the wine in just a moment. Let's see, we've got Charles in the chat. Who else we have here in the chat? I think we have, looks like we have people watching on YouTube, just no chatters just yet, but I'll keep an eye on it. Twitch, it looks like we might have a couple of people watching on the stream on Twitch. You know, Twitch it's interesting because it's been largely a gaming platform for gamers to stream, but there have been more and more people streaming just for other things, and we have podcasters streaming there. There are some YouTubers that are streaming on Twitch, and I've found a lot of cooking shows on Twitch, a lot of people doing their own cooking shows, and a lot of other different things. So what Twitch has done recently in the last week or so, they kind of revamped and relaunched their website with allowing for all of this and acknowledging all of this and helping to showcase these other venues, these other genres or niches, if you will, of streaming. So that has opened it up to a wider audience, apparently, lately. So we have more and more people getting on to Twitch and using that as a way to watch video. So, and we're trying that now. We'll see where that goes, and I'm paying more attention to the Twitch chat. So we're gonna. I promise I'll check in on that periodically from time to time. So let me talk about the wine a little bit. Let's get back over to Facebook for just a minute. Lon's here in the chat also on Facebook. Lon, it's great to see you. Hi, Lon. And I'm glad you could join us. This wine is, as I mentioned before, it's a French wine. I've got some information on this. Let me pull this up. I'm going to try to read this, and once again, I'm terrible at French. So this is a Domaine La Berthete, and this is a Les Pirogues. You can laugh if you want. It's okay. Matt's joined us in the chat too. Hi, Matt. And Chris is in the chat too. Good to see you, Chris. Like I said, I'm mixing my words up here, so I'm talking to people in the chat and trying to read this at the same time. Trish is there. Hi, Trish. It's great to see you. And what's up, Rick? She says. And well, we're about to open some wine. That's what's up. And I hope you can stick around to join us, Trish. I know it's late, but we're going to try to start this at an earlier time in the next couple of weeks. All right, so this is a Cotes du Rhone wine. And I hope Trish isn't going to laugh too hard at my terrible French, because it is terrible. This is a, let's see. There's a 2018. And let me get a shot of the back. Let's take a look at the back of this, because that's really where all of the information is on the back. There we go. All right, so reading this, it is it's a French red wine. It is a blend. This is a blend of about 4 different wines. It's 50% Grenache, 25% Syrah, 20% Carignan, and a 5% Cinsault, and this has been aging 6 months in stainless tank, 85%, and French oak barrels, 15%. I'm reading that right off the back label, and this thing is 14.5% alcohol by volume in the 750 milliliter bottle. So it's a fair amount of alcohol for this wine. And it's imported by Left Group LLC in Asheville, North Carolina. So that's where it. That's basically the specs on this wine. So we're going to open this thing up in just a moment. And Trish says Père Rouge. That's right, Père Rouge. Okay, thank you, Père Rouge. Thank you, Trish. She corrects me on that. I go in there and I'm really butchering the French language, and I'm reading these labels, and she corrects me and sets me straight on some of them. So she knows French better than I do. She knows her wines better than I do. I'm just an everyman. Look, I am not a sommelier. I'm just an everyman who likes to drink wine, and I like to pair it with foods. I know what I like to drink. I know what I don't like to drink. And I think it's about 95% of the public, right? I mean, we're not all wine experts, but we do know what we like to drink. And we do want to know what goes well with the foods that we pair them with and what doesn't go well. And I think I can help with that a little bit, because we're going to try some of that live. And then I open the bottle and I review it and just give my fair personal assessment of what I think of the wine. And let's see, who else we have in the chat? Let me check the chat just one more time before we get started. I think, okay, we've got Facebook active as usual. YouTube is quiet, and no one going on in the... I promised I would check the Twitch stream, so that's what I'm doing here. Anyway, to open this up, I have my... Where is it? My foil cutter. And it's right here. Let me get a closer shot of this. My foil cutter's here, and that was easy. That was an easy open. And of course I have my favorite corkscrew, which is basically this contraption here. This corkscrew, that mechanical thing that my lovely wife, she purchased for me at an estate sale. She bought it for $5, and I know it cost a lot more than that, but apparently it came from England. I think it was Aldi. I think an Aldi in England somewhere. Anyway, it works just like this. And this, once again, this is kind of an awkward position for me to do this, so it doesn't always work that well for me sitting down. It's really something that I really need to be standing up for. And we'll get the cork out of here. There. Whoop. Got it. And that was fairly easy. Now, this is a 2018, so I'm wondering, I'm hoping it's not too young to drink, because I've had some wines 2018, and they've been a little bit on the young side. We'll test it out. And to let it breathe, I've got my aerator from the Veneto Wine Lover set that I purchased off Amazon. And if you are interested and would like to get a one of these, you can. There's a link, and there's actually a banner on my site at drinkwithrick.com where you can click on that and you can purchase it. It's $19.99, I believe, and it's a nice set. It's worth the money, I think. And, of course, a few cents of that would go towards me and my wine habit and this wine stream, but you don't have to. It's up to you. And I've got to pour it in, I'm going to pour it in my Cooper's Hawk Genuine Crystal from glass from the Cooper's Hawk Winery and Restaurant in Orlando, Florida. And we're going to give it a little bit of a pour here. Just a little bit first to take a look at it and see what we have. This is we're going to open it up, let it breathe a little bit. While we're doing that, let me get some of the other specs on this wine. Now, this wine, I purchased it for, I believe, $12.99 at Wine Store, winestar-online.com, and they have it available there. It's let's see. Now the thing is, it was a little confusing at first, because when I pulled it up, I was going by the Domaine La Berthete label there, and I think it's listed there as a Berthete Le Perro. Is it Per? I can't. It's Perouge. Okay, thanks, Trish. But that's how it's listed there at Wine Store. And I looked it up online a few places. Vivino has it, but it's under a different. It looks like the label looks a little bit different, but it looks like the same wine. It's listed as the same wine, although they do have it priced considerably lower. But I don't think that's a very realistic price for this wine anyway, because everywhere else I looked on the internet, it looked like it seemed to average around $15 to $19. Cellar Tracker has it on average going for $17.22, and a number of places have it sort of in that general price range. So that tells me that I don't know what's up with Vivino, but that's basically I'm not going to really trust that price that they have listed. So we're giving this wine a chance to breathe. Let me give a little swirl here. Let's see what we have, if we have any legs on this wine. Whoop. And it's kind of a medium-bodied wine. I want to say that it's definitely not light. It's kind of a medium-bodied. It's looking at the rivulets, it looks like, and you know what? I don't know that it really means that much of anything. I've heard a lot of things about checking the rivulets, the tears, what you want to call them, the legs, if you will. I don't know if that really means anything, to be honest. I think people like to do it. I've heard different things where you can measure the alcohol content or how full-bodied it is, and a lot of other things. And I don't know if I really buy any of that, to be honest. Uh, that's just me. Maybe Trish can help me out there a little bit because I'll be frank. I think most of these wines are going to have some legs, right? They're going to have some tears going down when you're getting them. And of course, also depends on how you wash the glass. If you've got a glass that you've washed and you've used some of those, what is it? Those, uh, post-wash drying tablets and things like that, whatever else that makes the glass look sparkly and shiny or whatever, that has an effect on this too. It's going to affect how the rivulets work. So at the end of the day, I don't know if it's really that important. I don't know. What do you say? And Molly has joined us in the chat. Hi, Molly. It's great to see you. I'm glad to see you. And Molly says, just ignore that. And let's see. I missed something here. Okay. And Molly says, you're doing great. Well, Molly, thank you. And I appreciate that. Anyway, back to the wine. I think I gave it a little chance to breathe. I'm going to give it a little sniff. And the first sniff, and the funny thing is that it doesn't have a lot of aroma to it in the first sniff, but it is somewhat complex. There are several things I can smell in the wine, but it isn't that pronounced. It's like, some wines, like I think the wine we tried last week, I poured it and it was really, really strong. You could really get the aromas. They just came out really strong. This one, not so much. And this is, interesting. Fairly fruity. Really kind of fruity. But I taste a couple other things in here. Now, to be honest, to be fair, I did try this. I did try a little bit of this wine store earlier this week, and I thought I tasted a little bit of was that the one that I tasted? I thought I tasted some pomegranate in it. And I think this was the same wine. A little bit of, it's kind of earthy, little plum, and it's very, very smooth. It goes down very smoothly. It's not a lot of, it doesn't really have a whole lot of a finish. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that it's not really a strong finish. It's very light. It's somewhat acidic, not too bad. It's somewhat acidic, and it's somewhat tannic. I think it's say light to medium on the tannin. A little peppery, I think. This is a little peppery, but I'm not really getting the pomegranate in this on this, but definitely some black cherry notes in it. It's nice. It actually drinks very. It's an easy wine to drink. It's an easy wine to drink. It goes down pretty easy, and it's there's not a lot of just not a lot of a finish to it really. But that's not. Once again, that's not really a bad thing. I've had wines that have had a strong finish that were not necessarily, it was not necessarily a taste that I liked. So this is probably something that's probably going to go okay with some grilled meats. And I did some research on it, and they recommend this with burgers and beef and plates and things like that. I think even I saw some place where they were recommending meatloaf with this, and it might have been the winery site. But I don't have any of that here. I don't. We're going to pair it with a couple of things that I do have here in a minute. My wife, she made some pasta tonight. I don't really think this is a pasta kind of wine. We'll find out. But I don't think this is really a wine for pasta. I think it's really more of a wine for yeah, like hamburgers and maybe some lamb, things like that. Anyway, let's get back to the chat here for a moment. And Chi, my lovely wife Chi, has joined us in the chat. Hi, Chi. It's great to see you. Of course, I'm going to see you later. And I saw you at about 20 minutes ago when you made this platter. She made this platter for me, by the way. This is a really, really nice little simple platter tonight. And we're going to try pairing it with some of these foods in just a moment. Let's check and see if we have anyone joining us on YouTube. No, but I am checking periodically. I almost missed someone on the Twitch chat last week, and I apologize for that because I got away from that. Most of the action happening on Facebook, and I meant to check in on Twitch, which is why I'm really making a point to check in on a regular basis just to see if anyone's there. And so far, no, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and try it out with some of these meats. Now, what I have here is, I think my wife she prepared some pasta. I don't think this is going to really go that well with pasta. This is something that probably better with maybe a Merlot or a Cab or Chianti or something. Or a nice Zinfandel. You know, I'll say if I didn't have any other wine to drink, and I have to have wine with pasta. I have to have wine with pasta. That's just, I mean, who can eat pasta and not have wine with it? So, if I didn't have any other wine to drink that I could pair, nicely with pasta, I would pull this to drink it with the pasta, but it would definitely not be my first choice. That would not be my first choice. Let's try it with some. It's a beef sausage. It's close to beef as I have here, and yeah, that's not bad. It's not really spicy beef sausage. It's very mild. So it's not too bad, and it's okay. I wouldn't say that this is really a wine to drink with sausages per se, especially if you have something very spicy. But it's not bad. Cheese, I don't know. I really don't know. Let's try it with a little cheddar. I've got some cheddar. And this is kind of a medium cheddar. Okay, I can't say that you'd want to have this with cheddar cheese, but I can because I like cheese and I kind of like this wine. So, and once again, this is an easy wine to drink, so I think this is okay to drink on its own. But I think this is really better with maybe doing some grilling with some burgers. Now cheese, maybe a cheeseburger. This would probably be okay with a cheeseburger. I could go with that. But I would say really more with the burgers. Maybe a sirloin or something. Maybe some sirloin steak. Be okay with. It would be okay. I think it'd probably be okay with a porterhouse maybe. I know of a couple of wines that I would like to have with a porterhouse back there, but in lieu of those, I think this would be okay. I think it would probably pair well with some rich French foods, and I don't have any here, but I think it would pair okay with that, with some of those. But it does. Once again, it's very light to drink. It's easy to drink. It doesn't taste as young as I thought it would out of the bottle because this is a 2018, and it really has. And as they say, I think it was aged in a stainless tank 85% of the time for 6 months. So most of the time it was aged in a stainless tank and in a French oak barrels 15% of the time. So I'm not going to sit here and do the math now, but it probably is. It doesn't come out to much time in the oak barrels. So and once again, it really doesn't taste that young. But I would say that it would probably be okay if you could purchase one of these and then put it on the shelf for like 6 months and then try it in about 6 months or so. It does have, it's not a really, really deep pit in there, but it does have a pit, and it goes down to about 2 knuckles. So it's fairly deep, so I guess it's meant for a little longer shelf life than it's definitely meant for a longer shelf life than the $2 chuck, which has a completely flat bottom and is meant to be consumed right away. The thing is, I didn't check that the Rhone that I opened last week also has a flat bottom, and it is a lower price wine. I'd say $6.45. Is that correct, Matt? I think that was $6.45 is what the Rhone went for, or is going for. And I think that's another wine that's probably meant to be consumed, within a year or so of purchasing. I would say maybe within a few months of purchasing. Don't let it sit on the shelf too long. It'd probably be okay. Put it in the fridge maybe for a while, or not the fridge, but in your wine fridge, not a regular fridge, because that's going to make it too cold. But I think it would probably be okay for a while there, but it's meant to be consumed in a fair amount of time. Some of the wines that are lower priced like that usually have a little bit, not as long of a I don't want to say shelf life, but you kind of want to drink those fairly soon. Whereas some of the ones with these deep pits and these bottles of the pricier wines too, they're meant to be, you can store them for a while and before you drink them, save them for a bit. And let's see. Matt says yes, $6.45 on the Don. Yes, on the Don Rhone. Yeah, thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. We're going to have a little bit more of this wine, and of course, I want to get to celebrating birthdays and national days and stuff. That's the fun part. That's absolutely the fun part. We are going to do that right now, as a matter of fact, because I think I'm done pairing it with most of this food. Although I kind of like it with the cheese. Although some people would say, I once again, I'm an everyman. I'm not a professional food pair. So some would say, hey, don't pair it with this cheese. Pair it with something else. Well, I'll pair it with whatever I like it with, right? That's how I do it. That's how I roll. So let's see what we got here for birthdays. I want to toast birthdays, and first one I want to toast is for my friend Pete. My friend Pete Ramondetta. He's an old friend of mine, another one of my colleagues from WOFL back in the day, from Channel 35 in Orlando. I think he's doing real estate now. And Pete, he had his birthday. I think it was yesterday. Anyway, happy birthday to you, Pete. Hope you have a good one. Pete's a great guy, and we go way back. And now, one thing about Pete is that for his birthday this year, he has asked for donations to donate to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Instead of giving him gifts or whatever like that, on his birthday, he was asking everyone if he could make a donation to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, whatever you could donate. And I think that's a very noble gesture for a birthday. Let's celebrate the kids and help the kids at St. Jude's. If you can do that, that would be great. I think he's trying to raise about $200. He's raised a portion of that, and still has a little ways to go on it. So if you would like, no pressure here, but if you would like, that would be a great thing to do, is to maybe make a little donation from Pete Ramadetta's birthday page to St. Jude's, and that will help the kids. Definitely, I think it's a worthy cause. Once again, here's to you, Pete. Happy birthday. Someone else I'd like to toast. Her birthday is, I believe, today, and that's to Barbara Ritchell. Barbara Ritchell is the wife of Norris Ritchell. Norris, who passed away a couple of years ago, I think just around this time, a couple of years ago. Norris was our GM at WFL, the general manager, and kind of a father figure to a lot of us. He took really good care of us while we were working at Channel 35, and I think I've mentioned him before in a previous wine stream. And just a really great guy, just a really nice guy. He really did put his people first, his employees first, and I miss Norris. And Barbara, his wife Barbara, her birthday is today, I believe. And I'm not going to give away ages because I'm a gentleman and I don't give away the ages of the ladies unless they particularly. Now, yeah, I'm old school. That's how I was raised. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone, but that's how I was raised, to be a gentleman. And I guess in this day and age, none of that means much of anything anymore. I guess some ladies get offended if you call them ladies now, or if you call them ma'am or whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I was just raised to be polite, and I was raised in the days when there was still some semblance of chivalry. You hold a door open for a lady, for a female, and that sort of thing. That's just how I was raised. So. Anyway, to Barbara, I got off on a tangent there, but that's what we do on the wine stream, right? This is a stream of consciousness kind of show. Anyway, Barbara, here's to you. Happy birthday. Hope you have many more. And we do miss Norris a lot, tremendously. Trish says, you're the expert, Rick. Well, hardly, Trish, but I appreciate it. I get a lot of my inspiration from you and Molly at the wine store. I do. Seriously, I do. And I get a lot of inspiration from a lot of my friends who drink wine. I joined a Facebook group this week, and this is another tangent I go on because that's what I do. I joined a Facebook group this week that I thought was really interesting, and if any of you are watching there, I want to say hi. I kind of joined, just kind of lurk around and listen more than anything else. I just kind of want to listen, see what everyone else is saying about the wines and what they're posting about wines and food pairings and things like that. And I've been reading a few interesting discussions on that. So it's funny because I never really thought about that. Here I am on Facebook. I'm streaming on Facebook, and there are all these wine groups, all these groups for wine aficionados and such. And it didn't really occur to me to join any of them until this past week when I saw a couple of them just pop up on the sidebar. And I looked at a couple of them. The first one seemed like it was really more for professional wine pairers and professionals in the business. And I thought, well, that's pretty much out of my league. So I figured, well, they'd be laughing at me. But I still might join them just to lurk around and learn some things. But the second group that I joined seemed more like it was kind of a mix, and a mix of just people, like regular people like me. And I thought, well, that's kind of that seems more like the kind of group I want to be part of. So I'm going to hang around there and listen and see what I can learn from them. And I'll talk more about them as the next few weeks as we go along, as I learn more about the group. But I was just amazed at how many groups. There's so many groups on Facebook for everything, and I don't know why it didn't even occur to me to look for groups on wine. It really didn't all this time, but now it has. So now I'll be looking at some of those a little bit more. And Trish says happy birthday to Molly, and didn't we? This is becoming a running gag, isn't it? Because I know that I toasted Molly before on her birthday, and then last week I think was it Jonathan? I think that came in and said it's Molly's birthday again, and then I toasted her again. I think I toasted her the week before that and the week before that. So I'm not sure anymore what day Molly's birthday is on. But hey, here's to Molly anyway. This is going to be a running gag, isn't it? I got another story that's sort of like that, but I'll save that for later, for another time. Anyway, let's get back to the birthdays here. Someone else who I'd like to say happy birthday to is Tom Bozeman. Now, Tom, this is from another life. I had my WFL, my broadcasting life, and then when I was into IT, Tom was running a. I don't know if he's still doing it anymore, to be honest. It was running an IT company that was basically outsourced to other techs, and I used to do some jobs. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but they were a really good company, and I enjoyed doing work for them. And Tom was managed that, and he used to send me on some jobs around the local area, and I enjoyed that. It was pretty good. It was one of the things that I did enjoy about IT was going on some of those jobs for that company. And Tom's a nice guy. He's always treated me really well. He always treated me very well when I was doing the work, and he became part of our force field. I think he was a regular listener of my force field podcast, and he became kind of part of the force field tribe at the time. So here's to you, Tom. Happy birthday. I don't know where you are, but I know where you are in the sense that we're friends on Facebook. But here's to you. Happy birthday, Tom. There are some other days that we need to toast because I think we need to toast them, and a couple of them I was unaware of, and I kind of feel bad that I missed one of them already. Although I didn't need to, and I'm gonna explain what I'm talking about here in a moment. Trish says, I'm usually in bed, thanks. She was talking about last week. Well, she wasn't there last week, so that's fine, Trish. We're going to, and I haven't forgotten, we're going to cover our time change coming up here pretty soon. But let's get to the national days first, because I think it's fun to toast. I hope everyone's drinking something. If you're not, drink something, drink along with me, toast along with me. We can all toast together. We can toast some of these national days because I think some of them are definitely worth toasting. Let's get to these national days now. October. Now, this is the one that I was talking about that I missed that I wish I had known about. This was yesterday. Yesterday was National Cinnamon Bun Day. And I need more cinnamon buns, right? But that would have been a great day to go down to the Cinnabon store in the mall and pick up some Cinnabuns because, hey, I'm on a little diet, more or less. It is my non-diet diet, but it is a diet, and I'm trying to lay off the sugar a little bit. But that's one day that you sort of have to celebrate, right? I mean, it's National Cinnamon Bun Day. You have to have a cinnamon bun. But I miss that. But I want to toast and post-toast National Cinnamon Bun Day. Because, I love Cinnabuns. And this is how it got. This is partially why I am where I am today, is because of Cinnabons in particular. Not to say anything bad about it. I'm not disparaging the company. On the contrary, I loved cinnamon buns too much, or Cinnabons in particular. Who doesn't love a good Cinnabon? I mean, those are to die for, really. But back in the day, I'll save that for later. I'm not going to go there now. All I can say is I ate a lot of Cinnabons, and and I'm paying for it now. I'm paying for it now. Let's see what else we have here. National Taco Day was yesterday, and I've got to lay off the tacos too. I haven't had a taco in a while. I can't eat the hard tacos anymore. I can't eat a lot of the corn products anymore, but I'm not supposed to anyway. Doctor's orders. Got to stay off the corn products. But yeah, and that includes the corn squeezins. And those of you who know what I'm talking about, yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it? Here's a National Taco Day. National Golf Lovers Day. I played a little bit of golf in my day. I've got a set of golf clubs right across the studio here that are gathering dust, that have been gathering dust for quite some time because I haven't picked them up. I haven't even used the putter. Okay, I take that back. I did use the putter some weeks ago because I had to use it to grab the dog's ball from under the bed when I tossed it under the bed, and had to use it to get it out with. But that's not what the putter is supposed to be used for. The dog didn't care. He was happy I had something to grab his ball with. But I need to get back out there and start putting around again one of these days. Tommy used to be into it when he was young, when he was really young, when he was about 6 or 7 years old. In fact, we had a birthday party for him at a golf course and a putting range, or a driving range that they do birthdays, and we had a big birthday party for him, and he had a blast. It was a lot of fun. But he had some golfing lessons when he was really young, and I think he thought at one time that he was really going to pursue a career in that. That was when he was 6 or 7 years old. But that, as a lot of kids do, they outgrow that, and then they get into something else and outgrow that, and so on and so forth. But there was a time when he was really into golf, and I would go along with him, and I would go out on the driving range and hit a few balls as well while he was having his lessons, because it was a way to get out there and putt around. Anyway, here's the National Golf Day. National Golf Lovers Day. Okay, here's one that we have to drink to, but it's a different drink. National Vodka Day. Yesterday was National Vodka Day. Did you know that it was National Vodka Day? Any vodka lovers out there? Did you know that it was National Vodka Day? I didn't. But here's the National Vodka Day. And World Smile Day. I'll drink to that as well. And let's see. Now today was... Oh, I'm sorry. Before I missed one more. See, that's where my stream of consciousness goes. Yesterday was also... that was 10-4. 10-4 Day. October 4th, 10-4 Day. That may, if you're as old as I am, or just about as old as I am, you would understand the significance of 10-4 Day. That's also known as CB Radio Day. 10-4, good buddy. And CB Radio Day was instituted in the early 70s. President Jimmy Carter at the time, made it a national day. And since then, of course, that was during the craze. That was during the CB craze. There was a period of time back in the 70s, for those of you who are too young to remember or were not around at the time to know, back in the 70s, there was kind of a CB craze going where everybody got into CB. Everybody got into CB radio. And it was partially made famous by some movies like Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds, Sally Field, Jackie Gleason, the famous Smokey and the Bandit films, and where they used CBs. In fact, that was CB was basically the showcase of the movies, because they used CBs to talk back and forth to get around the Smokies, to get around the state troopers, on the highways when they were bootlegging. I think the first film, what were they doing? They were trying to transport Coors beer, I think, to another state. So they were on this beer run, basically. Now, I know this sounds a little weird, but back in that day, Coors was not allowed to be transported out of state to a lot of other states. You couldn't. It wasn't sold out of that state, or you couldn't sell it outside certain states. So these guys, what they were doing is they were making a bootleg run. They were stacking some Coors in the semi, in the 18-wheeler, and transporting it across state lines. And that was basically the premise of the movie, was that they were trying to avoid the Smokies, I think the local sheriff, he wound up getting involved, chasing them all across 2 or 3 states or whatever. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. But basically, they relied on CB radio to talk to each other between the semi and the car that was basically the spotter looking for the Smokies on the road, and that's how they communicated. But it was that kind of started the CB craze, and then there was a string of other movies. There were other sequels to Smokey and the Bandit. There were a bunch of other movies that kind of took advantage of the copycat films that took advantage of the craze going on. I think one other notable one was called Convoy, which in my opinion was kind of a forgettable movie, but it had a nice song that went with it. It was made famous. Song Convoy, and so during the 70s, CB radio just took off. Everybody had one. Kids wanted a CB radio. Everybody had a CB radio in their car. Grandmothers had CB radios. In fact, if I'm not mistaken here, Barbara Bush was a big CBer. She was in CB radio, and I think her handle was First Mama. That was her CB handle. Everybody had a CB handle. To talk on CB radio, that was her handle was First Mama. So I believe that was Barbara Bush, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. If my memory serves me correctly. I can go back and look that up, but I'm not going to go do that now. Anyway, so this what happened was, at the time, this was the catch. At the time, you had to have a license to operate a CB radio. You had to have a license. Well, people were ignoring that. They were just buying these CB radios and operating them without a license. And the FCC was trying to crack down on that, but because of the deluge of so many people getting these CB radios and talking illegally on the airwaves, it got to the point where the FCC couldn't manage that anymore. They couldn't deal with it, and they didn't know how. It was just impossible to try to enforce that anymore. So they went ahead and made CB license free. Or what I mean license free is they made it so that if you bought a CB, you inherently have a license to be on the airwaves. That's what the license free means. And so that made it legal. So they made it legal for everybody to use the CB without having to get a license anymore. The funny thing is, though, that towards the end of the 70s, it started waning. The interest, like a lot of fads, a lot of the interest sort of waned in CB radio. And so now CB is still used. CB is still used a lot. It's not dead by any means, but it's not as popular with the mainstream or with the with the public as it used to be. Now a lot of transporters, truckers, if you will, still use CB radio, but and a lot of certain other companies and organizations that use it usually when they're out, for logistics purposes. But and there are a few people in the public that still use CB radio. But anyway, I got off on a tangent again because that's what I do. And CB Radio Day was 10-4 Day. That was yesterday. And just as a side note, too, the company that I work for, By Two Way Radios, we're doing a CB Radio Day celebration to celebrate CB Radio Day all through Monday, from 10-4 to 10-7, Monday, 10-7-2019. So we're giving away some freebies, some gifts, and things like that. So if you purchase a CB radio, you can get a free bonus pack, and if you can get if you buy there's certain antennas that there's a certain antenna out there that you can buy, and you get a free T-shirt with that, and a couple other things. But if you're interested in CB, or if it's piqued your interest, of course, you can use that promo code that we already have for the weather radios. That promo code is WINESHOW, WINESHOW, just for you, my friends here in the wine stream, Drink with Rick. That's your promo code. That's for you. You can use that, and if you're interested in CB radio or FRS, GMRS radios, or any other kind of radios, if you're in a marine, if you have a boat and you need a marine radio, airband, if you have a private plane and you need an airband radio, go to buytwowayradios.com and you can use that promo code WINESHOW and you can get an additional 5% off your order. So just to let you know, that's your promo code. That's for you. Anyway, let me go back to the chat here before we go on to the other days. And let's see, did I miss something? What did I miss? I missed some things here. Jonathan's in the chat. Jonathan, it's great to see you. I'm glad you made it. Did you get your shirt, by the way? You won a shirt last week. I hope you got your shirt. He says, "Hey Rick, I'm late. How's the wine?" It's actually pretty decent. It's not too young. I expected it to be fairly young for 2018, but it's really not. It's actually pretty easy to drink. Not a lot of an aftertaste or a finish to it, so to speak. It's kind of fruity. It's not overbearing on the fruit. That's the thing. It's not overbearing. It's still fruity, but it doesn't have a much of a bouquet to it. It's really not strong bouquet like you would find on some wines. In fact, the last Grenache wine that we tried that had a very strong bouquet to it. This is not like that at all. It's very light. That's okay. But it's easy to drink, and I think it works well. I like it with the cheese, even though some professionals would say, well, this might not go good with this cheese, but I like it with it. So that's good enough for me. Jonathan says, 10-4, good buddy. We got ourselves a convoy. That's right. Jessica's joined us. Jessica's great to see you in the chat. I hope you're doing well. Haven't seen Penny in the chat lately, my sister Penny, lately. But I sent her some wines. I sent her and Tom some wine a week or so ago for Penny's birthday. And Jessica, you know what? I need to send you a pair of these wine coasters, don't I? I need to send you a pair of these Drink with Rick wine coasters. I tell you what, private message me your a shipping address where I can send them to you, and I'll get you a pair of wine coasters there. Okay. I sent some to Penny and Tom. I want to send some to you too. And let's see. Trish says, "What's your favorite wine with grilled meats?" Oh wow, what a loaded question that is, because I'm not loaded enough yet to answer it. But oh wow, with grilled meats, I like to gravitate towards Merlots or Cabs for some of the because they go so well with a lot of things, the grilled meats and the pastas and things like that. So if you have a Merlot handy or a Cab, a good Cab handy, it's kind of like your every wine. It's like you can use that for a lot of different things. So if you're short on wine but you have a Cab, it's just it goes fine with a grilled meat. But I think this would be okay with a grilled meat. This La Berthete. You know what I think? To answer your question, Trish, I like. There were some of the ones here. The tandem. I like. What did I have with the grilled meats here? It was. I've had a few of these with grilled meats. So I like a lot of them. That's gonna be. Matt says, let's get more specific. Chicken fingers. Wow, chicken fingers. Are you having chicken fingers right now, Matt? Is that what you're eating? Chicken fingers? What do you like to drink with chicken fingers? For chicken fingers, I don't really have chicken fingers that often. Now, I'll have wings. And I have been known to I've been known to drink a Merlot with some chicken wings. I've also been known to drink... where's it back here? Is it back here? I'm pretty sure it is somewhere. Where am I? I've got so many bottles up here. I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. You know what? I had a Museum Reserva with some chicken wings. And I probably shouldn't have, but it was okay. It was wine. It was open. I liked the Museum Reserva. I opened it up, had it with some wings. Evodia. I like to. I've had the Evodia with chicken wings before too. Stuff that I probably shouldn't really pair with chicken wings, but I do because the wings were there, and I wanted a bottle of wine. It was the first bottle I grabbed, and I really didn't care about any pairing, so I just had it. But I do prefer. I like to have a Merlot with the wings if I can, just because And Matt says, love wings, Merlot, great choice. Yeah, and I do. I like to have Merlot with the wings, and I don't like my wings too hot, but I like them medium. That's what I like to have them with. And as promised, I'm going to check Twitch here. We don't have anybody going on the chat, but I'll say good evening anyway. There we go. See if anybody shows up there. Anyone in? Nope, nobody on on YouTube. Let's get back to the days for just a moment because we have a few more days we have to toast, and I definitely want to toast them. I'm going to have a little more cheese with this one. It's actually okay. This is a cheddar that she brought up back with her from Chicago, from Minnesota, I think. She went to Chicago and then to Minnesota and then visited Mall of America and went to a bunch of other places, and I don't know where else she went. I like it with this cheddar. It's a little weird, but I like it. I kind of like that weird. It's okay. I like it. Just call me weird. So going back to the national days here today. What's today? The 5th? Not for much longer. For one more minute, I think. October 5th is National Get Funky Day, and I think we've already done that. So I'll drink to that. Here's the National Get Funky Day. It's also National Rhode Island Day. I don't know much about. That's one state I've never been to, so I don't know much about Rhode Island. I know it's little. It's really tiny. One of these days, maybe I should go visit Rhode Island. I've been to a number of places up north. I think as far as I've been to is Connecticut. I think, or maybe I've never been to Rhode Island. National Do Something Nice Day. I'll drink to that. Tomorrow is something to look forward to because there are some national days tomorrow I think that we can all appreciate. National Coaches Day. And there's National Orange Wine Day. Now, I have never had orange. Has anybody had an orange wine? I have never had orange wine. I really don't know much about orange wine except that I don't think technically it's wine. At least according to my sister Gina, if it's not, if it's from a fruit other than a grape, it's not technically wine. It's more of a fermented drink. So, if it's from oranges. Orange Wine Day. If it's from oranges, it's really an orange fermented drink, not technically a wine. But they've got a National Orange Wine Day, so I guess I'll drink to that. I've never had it, but I'll drink to it. What do you say, Matt? I mean, Matt, you're kind of an expert on wine. Tim has joined us in the chat. Tim, it's great to see you. Good to see you, Tim. I shipped you your prize from last week. I don't know if you've gotten it yet. Let me know. It might take a couple of days to get to you where you are, but I think that you should be getting that shortly, and if you haven't already. And let me know if you don't. If any of you who've won prizes last week in our special wine stream, which was supposed to be a special 1 hour wine stream, but went like an hour and a half, as I usually do. Yeah, I know. But, yeah, I got that later from my wife. She goes, 1 hour, right? Yeah. But we're still married, so I guess it's good. Love you, honey. I'm talking to my wife now, okay? Anyway, Tim says, thanks, Rick. Been out of town. Well, you know, once again, when you get them, you know, if you don't get them, let me know, and want to make sure you get those. What else do we have for National Days? National Days we have, I mentioned Orange Wine Day, National Plus Size Appreciation Day. And if there's anyone who's plus size, we appreciate you. And I think I could be considered a plus size. I have no room to talk. Well, I have plenty to talk about here. National Mad Hatter Day. I'm not sure I get that, but okay. National German American Day. I'll drink to that. October is an Oktoberfest. That's right, Oktoberfest. Time for Oktoberfest. There's another reason to celebrate, right? Oktoberfest. National German American Day. I'll drink to that. Some of my best friends are German. Some of my best friends are Italian and Irish and Jewish and everything else. Some of my that's a cliche. I know it's a cliche, but you know what? I have a lot of friends that are from different cultures, different societies, different. And look, my family on both sides, they're from different cultures, different societies. I'm all inclusive here. I don't discriminate because. I think we were meant to be put on this earth to be just one happy family. I really believe that. That is in my heart of hearts. I really believe that we were put here to be just one happy family, and that's what we are. We're all human beings. We should all just get along with each other, and that's what this whole wine stream is about. Just getting along with each other. Not worrying about where you're from, what color your skin is, what nationality you are, what gender you are, what political and the political thing, and that's why we don't talk about politics and religion here, because those are the sort of things that divide people, and that's not what we do here on the wine stream. What we do here is we try to bring people together Talk about things that unify. Find something good, and that's one thing I think that everyone should try to do is find something good, even if it's someone that you disagree with in some way or another, someone that you don't particularly like too much, someone that you don't particularly see eye to eye with. Find something good in them. Find something good in them, and chances are they'll reciprocate in most cases. I mean, yeah, there are some people out there that don't, but be the one to be the protagonist here, and do what you can to bring everyone together. Just everyone to be, as Bill and Ted would say, just be excellent to each other, right? That's what it should be about. Just be excellent to each other. What else we have here? National Noodle Day. National Noodle Day. I'm having a few noodles here. Basically, maybe I'm a little off my noodle, but this is pasta. And once again, I can't say it goes great with the wine, but there's some sausage in here, which I did not try. Maybe that will be okay. Sausage is not bad. Kind of, it's okay for the sausage. And October 7th, just to let everyone know, October 7th is National Chocolate Covered Pretzel Day. So if you like chocolate covered pretzels, and I have not had one in a long, long time, but if you like chocolate-covered pretzels, I think that's definitely worth checking out. There's a good excuse to go get one on National Chocolate Pretzel Day. Anyway, that's kind of it for where I'm as far as I'm going with national days, because I could keep going and I could wind up emptying this bottle and go through national days, and well. Anyway, so we don't have anyone going on in Twitch, and nothing on in Facebook, but Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube, but Facebook is where the action is, so I think I'm going to stay here for a while. Tell me what you're drinking. Tell me what you're drinking or what you'd like to be drinking. Matt, what are you drinking? Tim, what about you? What are you drinking here? And let's see. And Trish, tell me what you're drinking if you're still with us. I know it's getting late for you. And Molly also. And Chris, tell me what you're drinking or what you'd like to be drinking. And Charles as well. If Charles, if you're still in this, if you've stuck it out this long, you might as well stay for the end, okay? Tell me how you're doing. Anyway, there was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that was what I did today. Today was the Rock Hill Ham Fest. Excuse me, the line started kicking there. The Rock Hill Ham Fest, and what that is that for as many of you know, I'm an amateur radio operator, the FCC licensed ham operator, and it is my son Tommy. Now he didn't go with me this year, but I went down to the Rock Hill Ham Fest, and of course we have a presence there for By Two-Way Radios. We were there today, but I went down there for a couple of reasons, and one of the reasons I went down there was I was looking for a used computer that I could use on the wine stream here. I wanted to upgrade the computer that I have here and get a little more powerful system so I could do some more things here on the wine stream. I didn't find it, by the way. But I did go down there and look around. There were several people selling used computers. And the reason I was doing that is because a new computer, I could easily, yes, I'm an old IT guy, I could easily build my own computer. I've done that. I've got one over there that I use for work and for video editing that I built myself. I've been building computers on my own for many, many years. So I'm not adverse to building my own system, but that's not the issue. The issue is that the system that I want to build would wind up being very, very expensive, and I don't really have the budget for that. So what I was trying to do is I went down there to see if I could find a used system in that class, like an Intel i7 system, and see if I can find one that was used that I could just buy cheap, and then I could soup it up on my own. I could refurbish it, so to speak, on my own, and then prep it up for the wine stream. That was really what I was after. So I could find a system for a couple $100, just a motherboard, processor, memory, and I could just sit there and add on what I wanted to do, and kind of rebuild it from there. That would be fine. I'm okay with that. So I would wind up maybe spending $500 or $600 instead of about $1,800 for a new computer if I built it from all brand new parts. That was my plan, but I didn't really find what I was looking for there. I looked around, but there's still a lot of ham radio guys there selling a lot of ham radios, and it was an interesting experience, and I got to meet up with a lot of guys that I hadn't talked to for a while from some of the local ham clubs. One of the ham clubs that Tommy and I used to belong to, W4CQ, and I'd like to give a shout out to those guys if any of them are watching now or in the future. They actually meet. They used to meet on Thursday nights, but I think now they're meeting on Saturdays up at the Salvation Army building in Charlotte. And they do some stuff with the Salvation Army, which is pretty cool. And I'd like to give a shout out and a toast to you guys, because it's all volunteer work. They're not getting paid for that. It's just something they do. It's part of the ham radio hobby. So they basically volunteer to do that sort of thing. And one of the things they do is that in case there is some sort of disaster, like say if a hurricane comes through or something like that, they are the line of communications for for the area, in case all communications go down, that sort of thing. So they have some equipment in place where they can set up some emergency communications and that sort of thing. It's amazing. A lot of people don't think about this, but the amateur radio guys, the guys in the ham community, there are a lot of dedicated people that kind of donate or that's sort of what they do on the side. It's their hobby. Ham radio is their hobby. And, it got kind of a bad rap a couple of years ago where, as a matter of fact, I saw an episode of NCIS, which I used to like a lot, but I started realizing over the years that they kind of paint some people in a picture that's just not fair. They did that with ham radio. They had an episode where they took the ham radio operators and made them look like a bunch of degenerates that 40-year-old people that stayed in their parents' basement or whatever, or that were the recluses and what. And trying to make them look like, the stereotypical gamer slacker kind of persona that really is not actually an accurate representation of a lot of these ham guys. And a lot of the hams kind of took exception to that, because that was not exactly what the ham radio hobby is about, and that's not what a lot of these ham guys are. A lot of these ham guys are really, really, they're older people that that have been doing their hobby for 40, 50, 60 years, and they're heavy into. Some of them are very, very dedicated into emergency communications and things like that, and let's say, for instance, Puerto Rico. When the hurricane came through Puerto Rico a couple of years ago, that was the only means of communication in and out of Puerto Rico were the ham operators. That was really the only, because it wiped out pretty much everything else. And And that's been the case. Hurricane Katrina, that was another example where the hams came to the rescue in Hurricane Katrina because it pretty much wiped out all the communications, cell phone communications, everything local there for phone communications. It was the ham radio operators that were able to get messages in and out and get communications through. So they're kind of the unsung heroes when it comes to disaster preparedness and disaster, disasters that happen. And I think that NCIS show, just gave them a really painted them in a negative light, and a lot of the hams were not. They really didn't appreciate that. But and yeah, there are some. You're going to get some people in every. I mean, in every walk of life that, or in everything that you do, there are going to be some people that are really, there are people that are worth calling them heroes, and then there are other people that are like, well, they're not. They're not very showing. They're not displaying what we're doing in a positive light. You're going to get that everywhere. But for the most part, I think a lot of the hams are pretty dedicated to what they do. And there's a lot of the technology that we have is due to people who are ham radio operators that develop those technologies. Cell phone technologies, that came about because of the research and development and experimentation that ham radio operators did. There are a lot of technologies that exist today because there were ham radio operators that were experimenting with radio. So anyway, I once again I got off on another tangent, as I often do, again. But anyway, I was at the Rock Hill Ham Fest and caught up with a lot of these guys, and a good time was had by all. It was a lot of fun. And here's to ham radio operators everywhere. Here's to you. Salute. Now you're thinking, Rick, you've done some broadcasting, you've done some ham radio, you've done some IT stuff. What haven't you done? There was a lot of stuff I haven't done. I have never parachuted out of an airplane. Never paraglided, never done a lot of stuff. I haven't done any serious rock climbing. That's not my forte. A lot of stuff I've never done. But yeah, I've done a few things in my life. I really have. Let me catch up on here on the chat. Let's see who's drinking what. Trish, I guess you're drinking. She's drinking Pacheco Pareda, the Malbec. I love that wine. I really do. Trish, that's a good choice. I love the Pacheco Pareda. That's a good Malbec. We reviewed it on an early wine stream here, and I think I have one or two still in my wine fridge downstairs that I keep for certain occasions. That's actually a good one, Trish. That Malbec is actually a good one for burgers. That's a good one for grilling with. I like to use that wine. I like to open that wine, and Matt was asking me about that earlier. What I like, but Pacheco Pareda is a good go-to wine for grilling. I like that. Tim says, "Sorry, Rick, I am not a drinker, but my wife likes Prosecco." Good to note. I'll note that as actually Tim Bartlett. Your wife likes Prosecco. I noted it. But that's okay, Tim, because you can use this sort of thing with any drink. You can use it with any drink. Drink with Rick. This can be used with if you like to drink Coke, if you like to drink soda, which personally I don't recommend drinking soda. That's not healthy for you. But if you like to drink soda, if you like to drink tea, coffee. I love coffee. And aside from whatever studies they've done where, they do studies all the time where they say, oh, coffee's great for you. You got to drink 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day and it'll fight off diabetes and all kinds of stuff. And then another study will be done, oh, coffee is not good for you because it'll do this and this and this, not good for your lining of your stomach and all that kind of stuff. I like coffee. I drink coffee. This is good for coffee. It's good for tea. It's good for water. It's good for milk if you like to drink milk. I don't drink milk anymore because I just it just doesn't sit well with me. I can't say I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm just intolerant of milk. Such it as it is. Look, if you like to drink water, it'll work for water. It's fine. It's coasters are great to have on hand for anything. We have a lot of coasters in the house. I'll have to admit that I don't use coasters half the time because I forget, and I'll set it on the table, and my wife says, hey, you need to put something under that. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I've already finished the drink. But the coasters are good and handy to have, and these are reusable. They're not throwaway coasters, although you could if you wanted, but I don't recommend it because they're good coasters. I like them. And it has an animated version of my face on it that my daughter made, by the way. My daughter designed this, as a matter of fact. So you guys use them in good health. Phil has joined us in the chat. I have not forgotten you, Phil. I saw you pop in, and I hope you're still there. Phil has joined us in the chat. It's great to see you. I hope you're doing well. I really hope you're doing well, Phil. Phil is another old friend of mine from WFL. Molly says, I do not know if that wine info will paste. I struggle with this. Were you trying to paste some wine information? It's okay. The Pacheco Pareda, is that what you were? Oh, no, Molly was saying that. Okay, well, Molly, what is it that you were trying to paste in there? You can tell me. Just type it out. That's fine. So, Phil, tell me what you're up to these days. Don't be shy. We're all friends here. And once again, I'm drinking the La Berthete. Help me out here again, Trish. Pierogs, right? At this point, I'm about halfway through the bottle, so I don't really care what it's called. It's wine. Anyway, we're drinking this. It's a French. This wine, it's a French wine. It's pretty decent wine. $12.99 a bottle. It's okay. It's about. It goes for about between $13 and $18 a bottle. The most I've seen it is $18 a bottle online. I'm glad I paid $12 for it. I think it would probably be a decent $15 to $16 bottle of wine. But $12.99 is a fair. I think it's a pretty fair price to pay for it. It's okay. It goes okay with. I'm sure it goes okay with burgers. It went okay with this cheese. I like it with this cheddar cheese. Although I can't say I recommend that to everybody because some people may not like that with cheese. Not really a pasta wine. I don't think it's really a pasta wine, but I think it will be okay with a thing like. I was hoping I saw somewhere that it was supposed to pair okay with a meatloaf. I can't remember where I saw that. But she didn't make a meatloaf tonight. I actually thought she did. I walked downstairs and I smelled something. I thought, what is that, meatloaf? No, because she would often put tomato sauce in her meatloaf. So I thought it was a meatloaf. Then she came and said, no, it's not meatloaf. It's pasta. it's like a little ziti pizza, like a ziti. Excuse me. Kind of thing. Almost. Actually, I think it's a penny pasta, but she said no, it's not meatloaf, and I thought, oh well, I could have used a meatloaf with this one. And she gave me that look, like I'm not making you a meatloaf just for the wine stream, but that's okay. Père Rouge. Thank you, Trish. Once again, you saved the day. I love that. Thank you. Père Rouge. I have to remember that. Père Rouge. I'm going to forget all this tomorrow morning. Trust me. But yeah, okay. It's a Cote de Rhone. This is a 50%. It's a blend of 50% Grenache, 25% Syrah, 20% Carignan, and a 5% Cinsault. Aged 6 months in stainless tank, and 85% of the time, I guess, and French oak barrels 15% of the time. This is a 2018. It's not as young as I thought it would. I already said that, but I'm saying it again for those who came in late. It's it's actually okay to drink now, I think, but it'd probably be fine if you it might taste a little bit better if you let it sit on the shelf. You buy one of these, let it sit on the shelf for about 3-4 months, and then open it up. It'll probably be just maybe 6 months. Probably be perfect. Probably be just perfect. Although it's not bad now. It's not really bad now. Cinsault. Oh, okay. So it's Cinsault. I call it Cinsault. Thank you, Trish. Once again, Trish is my. I'm officially making her my official. What do you call that? Translator. So, Trish, here's to you. Thank you. So, I wanted to talk. I did promise that I would talk about this earlier in the stream. I'm going to talk about it now. 11 o'clock. We have. When I first started this, I was moving it around 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30, that sort of thing. Moving it around just to experiment, to see when the best time was. And one of the reasons that I settled on 11 o'clock was to give some folks on the West Coast, like my sister and some of her friends, a chance to be able to get in on the wine stream at a decent hour, because at 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock there, or 8 o'clock there, I'm sorry, the time difference. They're Pacific time. We're Eastern, and 8 o'clock would be a decent time for them to join in. However, since we've started this thing, it's come to my attention, mostly from all of you, because most of you are on either the West Coast or somewhere in the middle of the country, Texas. And my sister Penny, she's in Texas. Between the Eastern and Central times, and Mountain time, they said, well, it's a little bit too late for us. We can't make it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, I know, Trish, you'll be happy to hear this, right? I'm moving this to 10 p.m. Eastern, beginning on, the week after next, which is, I have to pull it up again, it is the 19th. So beginning on the 19th of October, which is about 2 weeks before, pull that back up there. There we go. 2 weeks before daylight savings time ends. I was actually planning to do it on the night that daylight saving time ends, but I figured I'd move that up a couple of weeks ahead of time. So we're going to go ahead and move it to 10 p.m. beginning on October 19th. So we'll do it 10 p.m. an hour earlier here on the East Coast. I think as the sun is going down earlier and it's getting darker earlier, I think people are eating a little bit earlier. And that's kind of true in our household. We tend to eat earlier as the sun goes down, like about 6, 7 p.m. than we do when it's summertime. In summertime, we'll have a tendency to eat later, 8:30 or so, because the sun's still up and you can still do stuff outside and that sort of thing. So, it kind of throws our eating schedule off, our dinner schedule off a little bit during the summertime. I have never been a big fan of daylight saving time, to be honest. I've never really been a big fan of that because I don't like this. Every 6 or 7 months, we have to switch back and forth between times. It throws my body clock off. It throws everybody's body clock off. It's kind of a nonsense. My personal, here's my rant for the night, okay? And this is not really getting political, so to speak, but it's just my personal belief about daylight savings time is that it's something that the government came up with to prove that they can control time. You know, if you get to the point where you can control time, you're in charge. You can control everything, right? It's a psychological thing. Once you said, "Hey, we control time," I'm joking. Okay, I'm joking. Well, I'm half joking. But the point is that I've never been a big fan of daylight savings time. I really haven't. And personally, I think if we just stick to one time, whether we stick to, if we just stick to either get on daylight savings time and stay there, or get off daylight savings time and just stay there, either one of those, I don't care. Just get on something and just stay there. Quit moving the time around. It's crazy. So I think with the end of daylight saving time coming up, I'm going to be happy just going back to regular Eastern time personally, and it just makes it easier. I think it does. Having said that, that's the end of my rant. Okay. Having said that, we're going to start it on the 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I think with the West Coast, I think if they're eating dinner an hour early, I think they'll probably be okay with that. If you're not, let me know. I mean, let me know. But I know it'll make Trish happy, and probably a few other people too. I know I've received requests from a number of everyone, a number of people here that 10 o'clock is better than 11. So I'm going to go with that. So we're going to close this up here shortly because I think it's about time to do that. But before we do, I would like to thank everybody here for joining me. You know, I'm still pouring this. This is there really is an easy wine to drink. Once again, this is a Domaine La Berthete. Trish, you're going to kill me. Right, whatever it is. It's going to be... it's Père Rouge, right? Cotes de Rhone. This is a 2018 bottle of wine. It's pretty decent. You can pick it up. There are a few places where you can get it. I've looked around online. You can. It's fairly accessible online in a number of places. You can Google it up, find around. But I picked mine up at winestore-online.com, and I'm not being paid by them to say that. But I'm just telling you that that's where I picked mine up, and I do like going to wine store because the people there, they're very knowledgeable about their wines. They're very knowledgeable about their French, and they're good people all around. They take care of you, and they do ship to a number of states, as I can attest to. They've shipped at least to California, and they ship to Texas. I can tell you that firsthand. I have firsthand knowledge of that because they've done that for me both times. Molly says, I'll be happy. Oh, about 10 p.m.? Yeah, I know you will. You know what? I think my wife will be happy too. She will be very happy about that because I go pretty late on these things. And Molly says, we'll make you flashcards next week. Thank you. That would be very, very helpful. Matt says, Rick, have you ever had a guest on the wine stream? No, I have not yet, although it has occurred to me. Oh boy, did you see that? Oh, that's what I did. Then I think I've had enough tonight, haven't I? All right, never had that happen before. There's a first time for everything, and there's a first. This was the first time that happened. That's why I should keep it over here and not here. Fortunately, I have wipes for that. Somebody's laughing at me. I know. I can hear them from here. I don't know who, but I can hear them from here. Anyway, didn't get anything critical. Anyway, where was it going with that? Yes, it has occurred to me early on. As a matter of fact, my friend, I actually invited my friend, one of my friends over, the folks that I mentioned before that do their house concerts up the street here, Mark and Kathy. And I have invited Mark on here a couple of times to on the wine stream, because one of the things they do on the side is they make their own wine. They do make their own wine, and they brought me a couple of bottles of it. It's actually pretty good wine. They do make their own. He has declined because he doesn't. I guess he's not really an on-camera person. It's not something he likes to do. But the invitation is still open for Mark. And I'd be open to have other guests on here from time to time. And hopefully I won't spill any wine on them. Jonathan says, man down, Rick. Yeah, definitely. I've got to refill this, don't I? I have to refill this to replace what I lost. I'll never get that back again. Right, Jonathan? All over my show notes, too. Anyway, so we were just waiting for that. There was only a matter of time before that happened. I mean, I've done, 30 of these? And I've had a couple of close calls, but I've never actually dumped one over before completely until tonight. I have had a couple of close calls. In fact, I think it was the third one that I did. I was talking about the wine bottles, and I was going to show the pit down the bottom of the bottle, and I wasn't paying attention. I almost sloshed it all over myself. But there's no shame here. I shame myself. What can I say? It's okay. It's definitely time for me to close this stream, isn't it? Well, all right. Tonight, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I really do, and I want to thank Matt and everybody who's here. Chris, Charles. I don't know if you're still here, Charles, but if you've been able to stick it out for this whole thing, you are the man. I want to say thanks to Trish for joining us, and Jonathan and Molly and my lovely wife Chi, and Phil and Jessica, everyone who's joining me in the chat. And did I miss anybody? Oh, Gina joined me. No, when did Gina join? I missed that. Gina, you're here. My sister Gina, and she's in the chat. It looked like she joined me at some point, but I must have missed it somehow. Sorry about that, Gina. I thought I caught all of that. Anybody in Twitch? Nobody in Twitch. But anybody who's watching in Twitch or on YouTube that didn't speak up, thanks for joining us anyway. It's good to have you all here. I want to thank everybody for joining me on the wine stream. And next week, we have a couple of options. We do have a couple of options. But I'd like to open that Overbrook, but I kind of like to save that a little bit because for a couple of streams down the road when we get to the 10 p.m. so that everybody can be in on that. And also, there's another one, the Escarlata, which I've been wanting to open as well the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to save that for a 10 p.m. stream. I'm not sure we're going to open up next week, but I think I do want to go back to a couple of experiments that early in the streams that we were talking about trying. And I might do that. I might try that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I know it sounds a little cryptic, but uh, yeah, it's going to be an experiment. We'll try that out in the next stream. I've been wanting to do that, and that involves some of the cheaper wines that we can sit around and drink and make fun of. But no names, no label names yet. I'm still working through that, but we'll try that out. Anyway, that's I think it's time to close it up. I want to thank everybody for joining me in the stream. Once again, you can catch it on the replay, drinkwithrick.com, Facebook, YouTube. You can catch the podcast. The podcast we have going out should be out tomorrow or Monday evening. We get the podcast goes out Monday nights about 10 p.m. Eastern time. And you can catch all those at drinkwithrick.com. You can also listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, a lot of those different venues. Blueberry.com, that's Blueberry without the E's in it, Blubrry. You can catch it on most all of the podcast platforms that are out there and available. And once again, you can also contact me at rick@savoyamedia.com. That's rick at SAVOIAMEDIA.com. If there's something you'd like to see me taste or test, send me a suggestion. I've received a number of them already. I'm looking at some of them. If you have a wine that you would like to ship me and have me test, you can do that. If it's legal to ship from your state to mine, definitely do that. I'm open to that. I'll open up a bottle. I'll give it a fair review, a fair and honest review, and we'll try it out. We'll all try it out together. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a great week. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. You know, I've seen people texting and driving on the highway going up and down 485 and 77 on my commute to my day job in South Carolina. It's really disconcerting to see just how many people. I can't believe that of all of the. Is this rant number 2? Of all of the publicity, of all of the warnings, of all of the promotion that goes on about not texting and driving, it just floors me about just how many people actually do it. I drive by people all the time that are on their cell phones, texting on their cell phones while they're driving. It's insane. I don't get it. I do not understand it. It's utterly insane. I'll tell you what, if I know if I run the risk of alienating any of my viewers or any of my listeners, if you are texting and driving and you know you're not supposed to be texting and driving, you should not have a license to drive. I'm serious. If you know that you're not supposed to be texting and driving, if you know the rules and you're intentionally breaking them and texting and driving, because it's extremely dangerous. Then you should not have a driver's license. You should not be on the road. That's just pure and simple. And I'll get some haters for that. I'm sure I will. I'll get some haters from YouTube on it. No doubt. But you know what? It's stupid. And that's the long and the short of it. Texting and driving is stupid. Just plain stupid. Drinking and driving is not very smart either. And don't drink and drive. Do this from the comfort of your home, from your apartment, from your hotel room, wherever you are, your friend's house, your mom's basement, whatever it is, wherever you are. Just don't drink and drive, okay? So, because I want you guys to come back here next week and enjoy the wine stream again with me. I want to see all my friends back here safe and sound next week. Okay? That's the long and the short of it. So, have a great week. Have a safe week. Join me again next week on the Saturday Night Wine Stream, and we can all get together, safe and sound, and drink with Rick. Good night.